I am Bertha Delgado. I am voting no on Prop Q because I love Austin.
Bertha, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. What
Thank
neighborhood do you live in?
I live in East Austin.
Okay, East Austin. East Austin's changed over the years.
Most definitely.
Yeah. How long have you been in Austin?
46 years, my entire life.
Okay,
I'm a
wow.
native.
Wow. Can I ask what high school you went to?
Austin High.
So did I.
Really?
Yeah.
Maroon?
There you go.
Yeah.
Loyal forever. So East Austin has changed quite a bit since you were young, and most definitely in the past decade, I would say. In you living there is certainly a different experience. Can you tell me how it's changed in the past 10 years or so?
I feel like it's changed. It started more than that, probably 20 years ago, when we started to see that things started to change. 20 years ago, almost 20 years ago, the power plant of Holly Power Plant was shut down by the neighborhood association, East Town Lake Citizens Neighborhood Association, which was founded in 1974, which is a demographic area east of 35, off of Cesar Chavez, all the way down to Town Lake, Lady Bird Lake, all the way to Longhorn Bridge, where Pleasant Valley intersects. That is the boundary for East Town Lake neighborhood, which is a neighborhood I live in. 20 years ago, when the power plant was shut down, it was a victory for the neighborhood. The power plant had been such a large, toxic, plant that was in the heart of our neighborhood. It caused a lot of environmental issues. It caused a lot of damages to people's health. And when it was finally shut down and it took its last breath, the neighborhood was not just victorious, but they were ready for, now they can live in a clean neighborhood, a neighborhood without a power plant down the street from us. And so living in the blast zone off of Haskell Street, where I still reside at in the year 2025, my family, which is a Rendon family, was very instrumental in preserving the park, which is named after my grandfather, Edward Rendon Park, and the neighborhood, making sure that, we had sidewalks, lighting, we had, all the basic needs like every neighborhood had across the city. Living in East Austin, the area that I lived in was a very, very rough area. People didn't want to live there. Or people didn't want to come to East Austin because it was such its own city of very, very bad environment. And so growing up there, it was really, really difficult to just face all the challenges that we had to face, from having, homes with air conditions and roofs and, basic needs. We didn't have that. And so in the last 20 years, seeing the dramatic change has been heartbreaking, and it's been devastating. The neighborhood was not prepared for what was coming. The community didn't have the tools to fight gentrification and the massive exploitation and development that hit our neighborhood.
Yeah.
It was really shocking that the city, and at the time, the leaders of our city, were really on the verge of just selling out every piece that they could, and it was a fight.
So it sounds like what you're saying is the community, while it had its struggles before, it was still a community, but that community is no longer there.
Most definitely. It was 100% Mexican. We're down to, I want to say 38% of minorities left in that demographic.
Mm.
So when you look at 100% of population of Mexican community to now 38%, every year it's going down, 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 because it's so unaffordable to live, not just in the Eastern Crescent, but in the entire city.
Yeah.
So
the community that you grew up in, it's no longer there. It's totally different. The city council talks about affordability. It talks about gentrification, and it talks about those in the way of they're trying to stop gentrification. They're trying to end the affordability crisis.
that's not true, though.
Tell me about that.
You know, we've watched the way council and the leaders of our city have voted and the actions they have taken that have harmed us. They have made decisions in rezoning, passing, all of the, you know, I would say the development that has hit every district. They have voted to allow it without ensuring the safety and the quality of life of our people. They have failed to do their job.
Yeah.
They have sold us out.
Yeah.
And, if you start looking at the politic play of it from national to state to local level, I feel like our leaders have worked really hard to develop this empire of structure that has really damaged us instead of helping us. And then the people that speak for the oppressed and the minority community and the low income and the elders and the children, all of those individual leaders that are speaking for us are not in our shoes. They are not experiencing, everything we're experiencing, from the loss of jobs, from the loss of homes, from the loss of, being healthcare, whatever we are facing, the challenges in the community, they're not experiencing that. Their pays are $120,000 a year. And as you see, as they're making budget cuts in every department, people are losing their jobs and people are also not being heard. And so it makes me wonder, we already have an issue with our government on a national level. When we just talk about Austin, it makes me wonder, is government service here, public service, really serving us? Or are we just playing Monopoly? And this is just a game of money here, because every company that has come into Austin, from Tesla to GoDaddy to every company, Google, you can think of, it's sad to see that so many global industries have come to our city and we're still in a deficit of closing 20 schools.
Yeah.
Of losing more money, cutting more budget.
Yeah.
How can we be in such a financial deficit as a city, and them coming and asking us on the ballot to vote for a tax increase? These people don't own property. These people don't, a lot of these people are not, they don't live here too. Some of them just renting out property. So, you kind of think about, what exactly is the business plan that the city's doing that's going to work? Is this even a business plan that we even all agreed on? So it makes me kind of question the government process here and how we're doing business, because you have organizations that are not just organizations, elected officials and organizations that are supporting initiatives of these propositions, and then it ends up backfiring.
Yeah.
After the propositions pass, I guarantee it ends up backfiring, that was the worst deal that they could have ever done.
Yeah. So, we're talking about Prop Q coming up in November, raising a tax rate election where the city of Austin will be asking taxpayers to raise their property taxes by approximately 20%. We're talking about East Austin and the neighborhood you grew up in, how much it's changed, how much it's gentrified, that community that's been lost. Do your friends and neighbors, how do they feel about the property taxes in Austin? Do they feel like they're getting a fair shake?
No. We're definitely, we are getting the shit end of the stick. And the saddest thing about this is that nobody knows about Prop Q.
Why do you think that is?
Because the city already knows that when it's election season and they already have decided what they want as a government body, they are going to not involve the community, and they're going to purposely not educate people on what they're doing. Instead, the language that's been put out is a little confusing, and it divides the community, because you have people that are scared to lose health services and lose stuff, and they mix it with the fact that if you don't pass this, then you will lose this. So it puts a fear in a lot of those constituents. And it also confuses people because they're like, well, why would you go against it? Don't we need an increase in this? So the language of the prop is very, very, it's confusing. It divides people. You have people on one side of the fence. I think people don't know that a lot of those dollars are going to go to the cap and stitch. People don't know what cap and stitch is.
Yeah.
People don't know that leaders like myself fought against cap and stitch.
Yeah.
Because the cap and stitch is going in our side of town. It's not affecting other neighborhoods on the west side. It's affecting the neighborhoods on the east side because of that project. One, we didn't have any money. Nobody would thought that it would get funded years later in Project Connect, and it did.
Yeah.
And the I-35 expansion, we're already currently getting hit hard on that expansion east of 35. On top of that, the dollar amount for cap and stitch of what they want us to pay is not fair. It's unbelievable. The fact that our city is really struggling with major capital improvements and other things that we should be putting those dollars to. Cap and stitch don't deserve those dollars.
Yeah.
That was again, a consultant brought that plan 10 years ago. We fought the plan and we lost. And so again, it seems like a battle every day in the city. You wake up, a house is demolished. You wake up, a school's closed. You wake up, you have a short-term rental having a huge event across the street. So I don't know what our city is standing for anymore. I know that we've lost the spirit of Austin. We've lost our communities, our people. The people of color in East Austin are vanishing.
Yeah.
And our numbers of voting are going to change.
Yeah. You talk about going from 100%, you said 100% Mexican, now it's down to about 38% people of color. A 20% property tax increase doesn't make things more affordable. What do you think is going to happen to that percentage over time if we keep hitting these tax rate elections, if stuff like this passes?
We would not be here. Austin has not just, the population here is very diverse, but we really don't have a chance. In the next 10 to 20 years, I see less of people of color, of natives, of Austinites across the city will be taxed out.
Do you think that the city council generally, or your city council member specifically, represents you or represents your community or your neighborhood?
No.
Who do you think they represent?
They represent the developers and they represent themselves.
Yeah.
I think that politics is very, very complicated, and I've seen politicians really, really have harmed us. And I think that our democracy is so at risk right now with everything happening that our own government here in Austin has failed us. And if I had the ability to mobilize financially, we would recall all of them.
Yeah. In the past 5 or so years, has the city of Austin done anything to make your neighborhood or your community more affordable?
No. It's I look at my council member and, I went to school with him. He's at my age. And when I ran for city council, one of the biggest challenges to him was that I would be the first woman to take the seat because it's been a gentleman's seat throughout history. So as the first Chicana Mexican American to take that seat as a woman was going to be a barrier broken. But I also wanted to represent the people in a way that they've never been represented. And I think that my council member has failed us, and he has negotiated some deals that in the future are going to really, really be a dramatic change, like the zoning change of Cesar Chavez. You know, the fact that we continue to keep fighting against council's decisions, and we continue to still lose. And so, you know, my council member has really shown the city what he's about and how he's not going to protect us.
For those that are considering voting for Proposition Q that don't know your community, don't know your neighborhood, is there anything that you would want them to know about before they do that?
Yeah, we're totally in opposition because of the fact that it's going to hurt the residents of Austin. So East Austin, we're barely hanging on to our properties, barely. And so many of us that are a part of generations to take over our properties, how can we hold on to our legacy, our neighborhoods, if they're taxing us out? And so I would like people to really think about that. It doesn't always have, this is not always the best plan. We don't always have to go with what the city recommends. We can always sit and negotiate and find a solution that's going to help Austin and better, you know, fund a lot of these programs instead of coming to the property owners and raising the taxes. I want to share that almost, I want to say 10 years ago, we were facing property tax increase with the school closures, if y'all remember. They came to the constituents and said, if we don't pass this bond, then, you know, all this is going to, you know, schools are not going to get funded. We're not going to have better schools on the consolidation plan. And people believed, and they said, we won't close any schools. We won't do this. We won't do that. And people believe that. But we have to pass this bond. It was a tax increase that we fought against. So if you start looking at every political move from the district to the city to the county, they continue to do this to us. It could be a school bond, it could be Pop Q, it could be prop, you know, whatever it is, they continue to do this to us. And it continues to divide us as a city. So how can we really sit down and create a strategy or any type of business plan or anything that's going to really help our people to secure them in their homes, keep them in Austin, keep them affordable? How are we going to do that if, again, the city council, the people behind this, the doors in there that are making these plans are not really sitting with the constituents and figuring it out together? I want to know, when are we going to come together instead of fight each other? So
one last question with because you've brought up the county and you brought up the school district, those taxes are going up, as well as the city fees are going up as well. And now they're also asking for this. Truly, your neighbors, your friends, your family, are they aware of all of this? If they are they? Is it what's going to happen with if all of it passes?
We're going to be taxed out.
Yeah.
We will no longer be able to live in Austin anymore. Unfortunately, that is what our mayor and our city have done. Our council has done to us, and so I think that we definitely need to educate the voters. We definitely need to have voters come out this voting round. I'm an elections judge, a county elections judge, and as I've worked through these campaigns all the way, you know, since the beginning of pandemic, it's been hard to get voters to vote. I mean, we have almost 900,000 voters registered. We have over 2 million people, and our numbers are not are not good at the elections office. So, the get out the vote, the fact of educating the people on the prop is going to be very, very timing as early voting kicks off and this ballot is in November. People need to understand what's on the ballot before they vote for or against it. And so, yes, I think our biggest goal right now is to educate the public.